I know Canada isn't the only nation investigating IDF soldiers for their war crimes. There are many nations doing it because they're not going to allow these people to commit war crimes and then try to escape to their nation for protection, like what the Nazis did, where they fled from Germany after the war in World War II so that they could find protections from other nations or going to hiding. This is hilarious. Uh, any IDF soldier that has committed war crimes should be put to trial just like the Nazis.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police have been quietly probing dual Israeli-Canadian citizens who serve in the IDF. Since 2024, Canada's federal law enforcement agency launched a criminal investigation into alleged war crimes these dual citizens may have committed during their military service in Gaza. This is the first time Canadian authorities have formally opened a war crimes investigation against dual Israeli-Canadian nationals, and it's triggering major concern within Canada's Jewish and Israeli community. For more,
I find it weird how a lot of the dual citizens of, one nation in Israel, those citizens feel like they're obligated to protect Israel no matter what and have no care about like actually committing crimes or the laws of their own nation. It kind of shows you that even though they claim to live in one nation, their priorities is protecting Israel no matter what happens. Why not just live in Israel if you care about Israel that much? Why live in Canada if you care more about Israel than Canada?
we're joined now by Casey Babb, Senior Fellow at the Macdonald-Laurier Institute, joining us from Ottawa, Canada. Casey, thanks for being with us on The Rundown today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, as far as this big move coming from Canada, are there any legal grounds, any precedent that allow Canada to investigate these alleged war crimes committed abroad in a foreign military like the IDF? Is there some place that this could actually lead, or is this mainly Canada trying to show some sort of a stance when it comes to Israel's war?
What would stop Canada from punishing people for committing crimes in another nation? Just because you go to another nation doesn't mean you can, go murder and rape people and then go back to your nation or the nation that you're living in and it's like a-okay and they can't do anything about it.
Well, that's a great question. My understanding is that the RCMP can investigate virtually whatever it is that they want to investigate. They have a relatively broad mandate. And this could go in any number of directions. But to your point, I think you're right on the money that this is part of a broader strategy to signal Canada's perspective, their view on Israel's war with Hamas.
How could this then investigation impact Canada's diplomatic relationship with Israel? Not only the diplomatic relationship with Israel, but also Canada's own Jewish Israeli communities that live right there in the country.
I mean, if those people really cared about what is going on, they would be against the Israeli government committing genocide because it also affects the view people have of Jewish people, especially since the Israeli government is claiming that all Jewish people have the same idea and that they want to defend Israel and support the genocide, which is racist to claim that all Jewish people are a monolith and have the same mindset. Uh, though nobody calls the Israeli government anti-Semitic, which they are. Zionists are anti-Semitic people because anytime a Jewish person actually speaks out about the Israeli government, they're called fake Jews, which is racism.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I don't know if the relationship, the diplomatic stance, the diplomatic posture that Canada has had since October 7th could get much worse when it comes to Israel. You'll recall that along with France and the United Kingdom, Canada released a joint statement not long ago, just last month, where the first line in the statement is, "We strongly oppose the expansion of Israel's military operations in Gaza."
Yeah, because the Israeli government is looking to uh, genocide every single Palestinian and take over their land, and there are nations against that. Uh, if you have an issue with that action, then you probably supported the Nazi German government who wanted to expand Germany, and people were opposing that. I mean, how can you oppose Nazi Germany genociding people and expanding their lands, but support the Israeli government doing the same thing?
I mean, Israel's fighting what I consider to be a war of survival, a war against a genocidal death cult. And so
The only genocidal death cult is the Israeli government, since they're openly talking about committing genocide, displacing Palestinians, starving people, and they're actively bombing uh, Palestinians. And then you also have the uh, settlers that are armed and funded by the Israeli government to go kill Palestinians in the West Bank. To claim that it's Hamas that are the genociders is fucking hilarious because that is a true Zionist lie. This dude has to be a Zionist.
right there, it doesn't get much more clearer than that. I mean, this is a government that has strongly opposed Israel's actions in such a way that you would never see applied to any other allied country.
Oh no, the Canadian government is opposing Israel's genocide. That is somehow bad when uh, many nations have opposed genocide by other nations. Like, people want to pretend like Israel is like the victim here and that anybody trying to stop them is just trying to make Israel look bad or trying to victimize Israel and that uh, what people are saying against Israel is like the first thing that has ever happened or something. It's like, no, many nations around the world have been against genocide and have spoken out against it. Israel is not special just because they consider themselves to be God's chosen people, which the Nazis also claimed as well, that they were God's chosen.
Well, we have seen a sharp rise in anti-Israeli sentiment in Canada recently. In fact, the Israeli government recently issued a travel warning to Israelis who are traveling to Canada. What does this now new move then say about the general Canadian sentiment, whether it's spewing from the actual citizens themselves or stemming from the Canadian government?
Well, look, this feels like the government is now potentially treating Canadian citizens who went and volunteered with an allied country at war against a mutually shared enemy and enemies, um, treating them like they're foreign fighters going to fight in Syria or Iraq with ISIS. I mean, this
Well, yeah, they're committing genocide, so, I mean, if a nation wants to punish their citizens for, participating in genocide, they have the right to. And how can you claim that Hamas is the enemy of Canada when Hamas does not care about Canada? They care about the people that are actively genociding Palestinians, which is the Israeli government that is doing that. This dude is acting like genocide is not happening. This dude is obviously a Zionist.
this is if this is indeed heading in the direction that some reporting suggests it is, this represents a very, very dangerous step towards not just Canada-Israel relations, but the collective sort of safety or insecurity that is felt amongst Canada's Jewish population from the state.
Well, if they wanted to feel safer, then they need to complain about the Israeli government, who is causing Jewish people around the world to feel unsafe because they are claiming that all Jewish people are wanting this. The Israeli government is one of the most anti-Semitic governments, which is no surprise since they're Zionists, and Zionists are pretty anti-Semitic. Um, it is the Israeli government acting like all Jewish people are a monolith that is causing the problems here. And there are thousands upon thousands of Israelis and Jewish people around the world that are tired of the Israeli government using their identity as a Jewish person to justify a genocide.
Statements that I just referenced to public statements that have been made time and time again by the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, by the former Prime Minister, and so on and so forth. This is just another step, but it really could be a problematic situation for many of these individuals who left Canada to go fight.
And if it's such a problem, um, I mean, if punishing uh, dual citizens for their war crimes is such a problem on relationships, why is it when the Israeli government kills Canadian citizens trying to give aid, why is that not considered a problem? Why is that not a diplomatic hit to the relationship between Canada and Israel? Why is Israel allowed to murder as many uh, citizens of their allies as possible, and it's okay, but the moment that a nation decides to punish an IOF soldier for genocide, that then the relationship between the two nations